Do you feel like you've been doing the same thing for so long that this thing that you used to be so passionate about has now become so familiar that it's not even special anymore? That it becomes actually a bit more burdensome than something that you look forward to. And so in this podcast, it's called From Ordinary to Extraordinary. We're going to help you to find a way to go from ordinary back to extraordinary, to reignite that flame and to hopefully get you motivated to put the work in to get back to where you're supposed to be. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope this encourages you. Hey peeps, I'm Rick Roberts, and this is Rick Roberts Like the Podcast, where we talk about my faith, my thoughts, my life. And today is Thursday Thoughts, and my thought for you today is, are you taking the ordinary and elevating it to extraordinary? The reason why I bring this up is because this past Sunday, I actually did first aid and CPR training. Now, it was not my first class. I've done several in the past, but the way in which this instructor taught the class was extraordinary. He took all the ordinary information and he elevated it by using his own style. Now, he used to be an EMT, and his main focus now is to go around the country and he teaches first aid and CPR training to people to make sure they have good, accurate information and that they are competent to be able to rescue a life, or at least to do their best to help bring someone back to life when they've collapsed and they are in the state of whether they're dead or whatever. And so the way in which he approached it, the way in which he put himself into what he was doing was fascinating. We were there for the entire day from 10 a.m. till about 4:30, and I didn't once feel bored. I didn't once feel disengaged. I didn't once feel disinterested, because he continued to find a way to convey his information in a unique way that was his style. He acted out some of the stuff. He made sure that he had some humor in it. He made sure that it was all practical and that it made, common sense and be able to perform first aid and CPR training. And the question I have for you is, has there been something that you have been doing for such a long time that you've kind of become a bit bored with it? That you've kind of become not so engaged with it. Now, in the early days, there's that excitement of, oh, this is new, I don't know where this is gonna go. It could, become this massive big thing. And so you have all your dreams at the beginning stages, and so you work it and you have this excitement. But as you have that repetition, it is easy to become too familiar. It is easy to become disengaged with what you're doing and to kind of just lose that enthusiasm. It's interesting because the Bible talks about in Revelations how there's this church that fell out of love with its first love. It got too familiar. It did everything right. It just didn't have that passion. It didn't have that connection that it used to have. And I'm asking you, did you lose that connection? Did you lose that passion? Are you taking the things that you used to do that you were extraordinary at, and you're bringing it back down to ordinary? If you are, it is a common mistake that people make. It is easy to get used to just doing the same, beginning, middle, and end. It is easy to get used to the same routine and to just let it become monotonous. But what I felt that this instructor, that this trainer did, is that he broke down his presentation. He broke down the information. He realized what was the main part that was confusing people. He figured out what was the myths of first aid and CPR, and he found a way to address this all in an interesting way that it would stay with us. And in order for him to be able to do that, it means he had to sit down and he had to really think about the different areas of his presentation. And so, as I'm talking to you, I know you've gotten so good at the routine, you've gotten so used to the dream that it's now become monotonous. But what I want you to do is I want you to take it back from ordinary and raise it back to extraordinary. Because that is where you belong. You belong in the extraordinary. You're not an ordinary person. So we need to elevate this. And how do we do that? like I said, we need to break down what it is that we're doing. We need to dissect it into smaller parts. And as we dissect it into smaller parts, we can figure out what can we learn to enhance that area. What new thing can we do to bring a new flavor, to bring a new spark to what it is that we're doing? And this doesn't just apply to our work, it doesn't just apply to our projects, it applies to our relationships as well. It is so easy to be with the same person day in and day out, where you say, okay, that's just my partner, they come, they go out, they do what they're gonna do. It's so easy to kind of lose that passion if you don't find a way to maintain it. And so the same thing I'm saying, to break it down into small parts. Break down your relationship and find something unique, something interesting you could learn about that person to kind of help rebuild and maintain that flame. What new thing can you do together to continue to find something new to talk about? Because if you do the same thing over and over again, it is so easy to say, you know what, it's too repetitive, and you start to switch off and start to tune out. Alright? And so I want you to connect back to the thing that matters most to you. You started this project because it meant something to you. You started this dream because it was your dream. You got into this relationship because you felt that connection and you knew that this could grow into something amazing. But in order for you to have the amazing thing, in order for you to have extraordinary, you need to hit ordinary and then some. Okay? You can't just do the ordinary to get to extraordinary. You can't just do the ordinary to be amazing. You have to put extra work in to be able to be at extraordinary and amazing. And so I'm saying this to you to let you know that, yes, you may feel that you are caught in a routine, that you hit a plateau, that it has gotten a little bit stagnant. But it doesn't mean that you can't pull it back and fix what it is that's in front of you. It doesn't mean that you can't readjust it and reignite that spark into a flame. You can do something amazing, but you must change in order for it to change. If you don't change, it's not going to change on its own. You have to put the work in to get extraordinary. And so over the next few weeks, I'm looking at hitting the subject ordinary to extraordinary to hopefully help encourage you and for us to be able to get on a better page, a stronger page, and to start to hit extraordinary. I'm Rick Roberts, and you stay classy.